I started using TikTok during quarantine, and there's a word I can use to describe it that I honestly wouldn't use to describe any other social media I use right now. It's delightful.
I just found this stick that sounds really nice when you drop it. Listen. Isn't that nice?
If you use TikTok long enough, you'll probably experience something I've experienced multiple times now. On your For You page, TikTok's personalized feed of videos it thinks you'll like. A video will pop up containing a joke or reference or on a topic that seems almost impossibly specific to you and your life.
Quick, name your favorite song. Did you know that's actually incorrect? You see, your favorite song is actually Jack Johnson's hit single featured in the Curious George movie. You just forgot about it.
So specific, you might think that nobody else would have gotten that joke or that TikTok might be spying on you.
One thing about being an adult that no one ever talks about is how much time you spend debating with yourself whether to keep a cardboard box or not.
And not this experience itself, but the reason it happens is I think a big part of why TikTok is winning what I want to talk about in this video. Thanks to Audible for sponsoring this video. Get a free audiobook when you go to audible.com/ThomasFlight. On the surface, TikTok is just a platform that allows you to share videos up to 1 minute in length. But I think what really makes the app powerful is a little less visible. It's hard to pitch people on why they might like TikTok because if you're like I was 6 months ago, you probably think it looks mostly like this. And while viral dances are an undeniably large part of TikTok's culture, it can be so much more than that. Like every social media platform, everyone's feed looks a little bit different. Mine looks something like this.
People seem to think that cucumbers are the easiest thing to pickle, and I don't blame you.
Hold on, there it is.
Can you see me?
How are you guys holding up?
Hold it up, hold it up.
Why do most decorative pots come without a drainage hole?
No earthly power can compare to that of the label maker.
By putting green tea leaves on top of ice cubes.
Because, like it's obviously this one. That makes sense.
Of course, this feed might not be that appealing to you, but if you use TikTok, you'll receive a feed that matches your interests. You might think I'm describing how all social media work, but I use the word receive very specifically, because on other social media platforms, you tend to build your feed. What's unique about TikTok is that the algorithm does the work for you, and it does it better than you ever could. Online, we now live in a world dominated by algorithms. Gone are the days where you simply saw the content of the people you followed, subscribed to, or were friends with in chronological order. Every major social media platform uses an algorithm to show you the content it thinks you'll want to see, or at least content that will keep you coming back to that platform. In the age of the algorithm, TikTok wins because in my experience, the TikTok algorithm is the most powerful of any social media platform I've used. Most of the time you spend on TikTok, you'll probably spend browsing your For You page, which is a curated feed of videos from all of TikTok. A lot of times this feed will actually match your interests better and serve you better content than the feed of the people you follow. This algorithm is so good that the way it matches people up with people like them or their specific interests has become somewhat of an inside joke on the platform.
So we get the 3 keys of Black Lives Matter, Indigenous, and Socio-Anarchist TikToks for lesbian TikTok to then place us in Stoner Witch, Cottagecore, or Goth TikTok.
But why is TikTok's algorithm so robust and effective? One answer might be that they're just developing their software better than other people, and that may be the case. But I think a significant part of the nature of the algorithm's success is tied to the design of the platform itself. On YouTube, every time you watch a video, you provide YouTube with a data point that it can use to understand your interests. How long you watch, if you skip ahead, like, or comment are all aspects of that data point that YouTube can analyze to determine what you like so it can recommend things to you. In any well-built algorithm, more data should mean a better algorithm. If each interaction is a data point, imagine how many data points you give Netflix. For every hour you watch Netflix, you generate 1 or 2 data points for them. Those data points are all Netflix has to go on to determine what to recommend to you. For every hour you spend on YouTube, you might generate a dozen data points. But in 1 hour using TikTok, where many videos are only 15 seconds, you could easily generate over 100 data points in just that hour. Every time you swipe on TikTok, you're feeding the algorithm information about your interests. This powerful algorithm doesn't just make for a better experience for the viewer, it also makes TikTok an enticing place for creators. On TikTok, you don't need any previous following, friends, or clout. If you have a really good piece of content that people want to watch, it has the potential for millions of views on TikTok, regardless of your current following. As you swipe through your For You page, you'll occasionally come across videos with few likes and very little views from a random person you've never seen before. Each TikTok will get sent to an initial pool of viewers. If they engage with it positively, it will get sent on to another larger pool, and so on. TikTok can do this because the cost for TikTok of recommending a piece of content that you don't like to you is very low. If you don't like a video, you just keep swiping, and at most you've wasted a few seconds of your time. On the other hand, the cost of recommending a video you don't like is very high for YouTube. If YouTube recommends you a video you don't like, that's a whole click and engagement wasted. One of probably only a few you'll spend on YouTube that day. If you don't like the video, you've potentially wasted minutes, and if YouTube does this enough, you'll begin to lose faith in its algorithm and maybe start to ignore the recommendations. On TikTok, you can start at zero, and with one high quality piece of content, you can end up with millions of views. Another unique thing about TikTok is that it's a largely clickless platform. While something like YouTube depends heavily on you seeing a thumbnail and then clicking on it, on TikTok you're just automatically watching the content. You get to judge whether you want to watch it or not by the content itself, not a title and thumbnail. This new system eliminates the clickbait issues that we have on a lot of click-based platforms. There are definitely still annoying trends that try to game this system, but the cool thing here is that the TikTok algorithm can figure out you don't like those kinds of videos and stop showing them to you. The way the algorithm works leads me to the second reason I think it's succeeding, especially among young people. YouTube was a massive democratization of video content production. Before YouTube, if you wanted to distribute video content, you needed a ton of resources and connections. But even now, especially these days on YouTube, it takes quite a bit of effort and some resources to meet the minimum standards that viewers have for content. It's still massively easier than having a TV show, but on YouTube, you'll still need to buy and set up and use a camera, microphone, editing software, and probably lights in order to create content that YouTube viewers are actually probably going to want to watch. TikTok, however, almost completely democratizes video content production. Anyone who can download the app to their phone has the tools necessary to create a video that potentially millions of people will watch. Of course, TikTok didn't invent this. It's building on the groundwork that Vine, Instagram, and Snapchat have laid in terms of marrying the platform itself to the tools needed to create the content. This democratization of production alongside the potential for growth found in the algorithm means that the barrier to entry for every user to becoming a content creator is extremely low. This is Dora, one of my favorite TikTok users.
Today we're at the garden. I just thought I would show you guys how far our plants have grown.
She started out using TikTok like everybody else, but as people started paying attention to her content and started asking her questions, she started talking about her life as a single mother and school teacher in Zambia. Because of TikTok, she was able to raise a large amount of financial support for her community and school while maintaining ownership of her narrative and story. This altruistic support was generated unmediated by a first world humanitarian organization that would have told her story for her. In best case scenarios like this democratization of the platform would allow some voices that have been kept out of telling their stories through traditional means to build an audience. But another aspect of this democratization is perhaps TikTok's most visible and obvious unique characteristic. A big part of production value is music quality, but on YouTube and other platforms, this can actually be a difficult and expensive part of the process for a lot of content creators. Finding music that is high quality, that you can use legally, takes a lot of time or costs a lot of money, and forget using your favorite pop song. That's just not an option. TikTok takes young people and content creators' desire to use music they know and love in their content and makes that legally and financially possible. Music is obviously a huge part of memes and trends in our culture, and giving young people the only place on the internet where they can legitimately use the music they love for these purposes without the threat of their content being taken down makes the platform hugely appealing. I think the music element also plays a role in the strength of the algorithm. The track used on a video is one of the elements that TikTok uses to recommend that video. This allows TikTok's recommendations to be partially built around musical tastes, something that can be oddly specific and a little esoteric. And it might be part of the reason why the algorithm can find you content that doesn't seem related on the surface but that you actually really love. And the tools TikTok gives to creators to allow them to remix and reuse music have unintended positive consequences. The duet feature allows creators to respond to or comment on other people's videos, and the ability to dub your videos with other people's sounds creates a strong remix culture.
Vape? Nah. Film degree.
Where are you? And I'm so sorry.
Vape? Nah. Film degree.
Where are you?
People create a lot of content that responds to or builds on other people's content.
Just don't, okay? Trend's over.
There's very much a feeling that content creators aren't just putting out content in their silo, but are participating in a broader conversation on the platform. So what can we learn from all this? Well, if I'm right about TikTok's strength coming mostly from its algorithm, then we might see a lot of platforms in the future being designed specifically to get data from its users so that it can build a stronger algorithm. And the platforms that we might see most successful are the ones that naturally provide a lot of data points for those platforms' algorithms. And better algorithms should make for better experiences for users and creators. But for teenagers and adults who are potentially spending hours using this platform, how much of their worldview and view of themselves and their peers is being shaped by an artificial intelligence?
TikTok does have an algorithm to evaluate how pretty you are. If you spend enough time on the Chinese deep web, you can find ByteDance documentation like this. Google Translate tells us that they are looking at the beauty of the hottest, ugliest, and average person in your video.
And I wonder if the positivity comes from the algorithm just being better at keeping me in a bubble of people who think like me and away from people who don't. I've seen a tendency by people my age and older to write off TikTok because it just seems like something for young people. But if we do this, we'll miss out on understanding why people are enjoying it so much and the lessons we can learn from TikTok that will help us understand how to build better and more positive social media platforms in the future. Thanks so much to Audible for sponsoring this video. Every month you get a credit for a free audiobook plus a selection of Audible originals. Syncing between devices allows you to listen on different devices and pick up where you left off. I listen to audiobooks a lot, whether it's on road trips or while I'm doing menial video editing, and Audible lets you build up a digital library of audiobooks. The audiobook I want to recommend to you today is Neil Postman's Technopoly. Neil Postman and Marshall McLuhan have been two very influential figures on how I think about this stuff. And Neil Postman takes a lot of Marshall McLuhan's ideas and applies them to our modern technological landscape in this audiobook. It's a great listen if you want to try to learn about how to look at our modern technology landscape and the way that it's affecting our lives. You can get this audiobook or any other audiobook in Audible's library for free when you sign up for your 30-day free trial by going to audible.com/ThomasFlight or by texting ThomasFlight to 500-500. That's audible.com/ThomasFlight or text ThomasFlight to 500-500. Thanks again so much to Audible for sponsoring this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in supporting my channel directly, you can go to patreon.com/ThomasFlight. I really appreciate the support my patrons give me on an ongoing basis.